Good afternoon, this is Andree. Teach yoga at JCC in the Boston area. So today we are going to explore the breath, and at the same time we're going to do more inversion than usual. We're going to do poses that are conducive to headstand if you ever wanted to do headstand in your practice. Okay, so let's begin with your legs crossed. We're going to do the single nostril breath. So you're going to place your right hand or your left hand, whichever one is more comfortable, so fingers on your forehead, and then thumb and one finger on each nostril. So let's begin. Have your fingers on your forehead, and let's just take a normal breath here throughout both nostrils. Now we're going to begin by blocking the right nostril, taking an inhale to the left. You're going to exhale, block the left, and continue to repeat that as you breathe. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling to the same nostril, exhaling to the opposite. Inhale, exhale to the left, inhale to the right, exhale to the left. Let's do 3 more breaths this way. And slowly release your hands to your knees. Keep your eyes closed and experience this moment after this breath exercise. Now lower your head and open your eyes. Just let the light enter. And then slowly look up. So we are going to start on our hands and knees. So we are going to do a modified sun salutations from starting on our knees. Put your props away. And let's begin. So here we want to use the breath as we move into a sun salutation. So I'm going to call out the breath. And we are going to do modified push-ups in that series. So come to your hands and knees. Take a moment to root the hands. All fingers spread. Shift your weight forward a bit, feeling your body weight through the arms. Now come into a downward facing dog. We're going to inhale forward to a plank. You're going to come to your knees. Exhale all the way down to your mat. Inhale, push the floor away, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank, coming to your knees, exhaling down to your mat. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths here. Come to your knees to child's pose. Let your head drop between your arms. Keep the arms extended. And as we return to downward facing dog. Walk your feet halfway. Walk your hands back. Okay, let's take a moment here, releasing from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Try to bring your head closer to your knees. Maintain the lift of the tailbone. Maintain the shift slightly forward. And now as you inhale, stretch your spine. Place your hands on your hips and come all the way up. So you're going to need 2 blocks, a blanket and a strap. So I want to say a little bit about what inversions are. A forward bend is an inversion. Downward facing dog is an inversion. Dolphin pose is also an inversion. So we're going to explore those poses without ever having to go into a headstand. Okay, so let's begin on your hands and knees again. So we're going to continue in a warm up. So walking your knees back a little bit. Possibly lower yourself all the way down to your mat. Drop the head. Inhaling back onto your hands and knees. Okay, let's coordinate the breath. Inhale here. Exhale. Inhale. And now exhale to child's pose. Let's inhale to your hands and knees. Exhale down to your mat. Inhale back up. Exhale, child's pose. Let's do this one more time. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Keep opening the shoulders. And then slowly come up. So the first pose we're going to do is dolphin plank. So we are familiar with dolphin plank. So we're going to hold dolphin not for a very long time, long enough to feel it, and then we will come to your knees and rest in between. So we're going to do that 3 times. And then we're going to explore dolphin pose. And we go on from there, okay? So come to your forearms, interlace your fingers. Take a moment here to connect the arms, the forearms, to the mat. So you don't want to be too much on your elbows. Right? You want the weight to be distributed between the wrist and the elbows. So you're going to step the right leg back, look back, make sure you centered, step the left leg back, and settle into your pose. Press the forearms strongly to the mat. Breathe. Active legs, navel pulled in. And then come to your knees. Let's spread your arms by your lower legs. Drop the head. Take 5 breaths here. And let's come back again and interlace your fingers. Connect to the forearms. Even begin to engage the core. So when you press the forearms down, even before you lift, you notice the freedom you give to your shoulders. So now let's step the left foot back, look back, make sure it's centered. Step the right foot back, settling into your pose. Come into your knees, back to child's pose. 5 breaths. One more breath. Okay, let's do that one more time. So now keep the memory of the first 2 poses you did. The first 2 are dolphin plank, so that maybe you discover something new in your third one. Interlace your fingers, forearm rooted to the mat, pressing the wrist down. Step the right foot back, step the left foot back. Let's settle into the pose. Come down to your knees to child's pose. Drop your head, 5 breaths. And so we sit up. Now we are going to do dolphin pose. Again, it's down on the forearms, so you interlace your fingers, press the forearms down. This is the same principle. You want to root to the forearms. You want to free the shoulders. So the whole pose is supported by the upper arms and the forearms. Going to tuck your toes under, press into dolphin pose. Let your head hang between your arms. Press the wrist down. If you're very flexible, it could be that your head is almost touching the floor, but it should not be on the floor right now. So this is a good pose to do instead of headstand. Let's take one more breath. And then come to your knees. We're Bring the arms alongside your body. Drop the head, 5 breaths. Let the shoulders relax. And sit up. Let's do this again. Interlace your fingers. Press the forearms down. Take your time. Do not lift the knees off the floor until you feel rooted on the forearms. Pressing the wrists down. Pressing the center of the forearms down. So when you come up, don't have too much weight on the elbows. Tuck your toes under. Press to dolphin pose. For this one, you're going to walk in a little bit until you feel different. Let your head drop between your arms. Keep pressing the wrist down. You can lift the heels up. Lift the tailbone up higher. Release the heels down. One more breath. Come to your knees. Rest to child's pose. So we sit up. So even if you were not thinking about it, I'm sure that you noticed your breath. Because the breath was very much there. The breath is guiding your body into the exercises. So let's do this one more time. Interlace your fingers. Press the forearms down and come into your pose. Walk in. Keep pressing the forearms down. Lift the heels up if you have to. Feel the power of your arms. And then come down to your knees. Come to child's pose. And then come up. So you can see how dolphin pose has similar qualities to headstand, although your head is not on the floor. And you get that inversion benefit. And if you have high blood pressure, there's a way you can ease in to an inversion without going to the extreme inversion. Okay. Now we're going to take 2 blocks. So the next inversion we're going to see that we're going to do is pyramid pose. So you're going to take your 2 blocks. Placing the blocks in front of you. So let's start with the blocks on the high end. Okay? So keeping the right foot forward, you're going to step your left foot back. Place your hands on your hips. You want to compact the ribs, so you're really squeezing the other hips in. You do that using the legs. You want to pause there, connecting to the back foot. So feel yourself standing in that position. Notice there's a tendency to let the back leg soften. So when you notice that, you take your mind and you firm up the leg again. So this is all training our mind to notice how the body is working. Now begin to hinge forward. So we're going to come halfway. And the more you come forward, the more you want to root to the back foot. That gives you the stability. Now, bring your hands to the block. So keep a flat back. You can look straight out at the floor, but don't drop the head right now. So as you're holding that pyramid, reconnect to the back foot. Press the outer edge of the back foot more. Press the big toe mat of the front foot in. And rotate the right thigh out. So you're rotating the inner knees toward the outer knees. Once you have the leg action, move to the core. Feel the navel pulling in to support the spine in this position. Now some of you may keep the blocks underneath your hands, or you may reach to either lower the block or bring your hands to the floor. And continue to compact the hips. Now you can let your head come down. Keep using the back leg, and we'll help the front leg stay straight. And now inhale, stretch your spine. Take your block, lengthen the spine again, press your hands on your hips, and come up. Now take a moment here to feel your legs after you stretch the right leg. I'm sure your body's probably dying to get out of this position. So we are going to do that. You're going to step forward and step your right foot back. Hands on your hips, elbows back. Now observe the difference on this side. Do you have to work harder to keep the back leg firm? Is it harder to firm the hips, to squeeze the hips to the midline? Can you feel the action resonate in your core muscles? So what the legs do, resonate to the core. What the core does, resonate to the legs. And now begin to slowly, so that you know what you're doing, from the back leg, begin to come forward. And then you can drop the hands to the block. Maintain a flat back. Rotate inner knees to the outer knees. If you forgot the back leg, take your mind again to your back foot. Press the outer edge of the back foot. Now you can lower the blocks, or just take the blocks away and bring your hands to the floor. Go to a place where you feel a little bit more challenge. Concentrate on the back leg. We have a tendency to feel the front leg more because obviously the sensation is greater. So you have to guide your mind to be in charge of the back leg. And then you can let your head drop. Feel your breath. And now coming back up, take your blocks, come into the flat back position. Place your hands on your hips and come up. Again, pause here. Keep the legs firm. So each time the legs relax, and then each time we return and firm up the legs. That returning to the action in the legs, that's what strengthens the legs. So if you forget to use your back leg, if your legs get soft on you, don't be upset, just re-establish the back leg. So yoga is meditation. It's a sneaky way to meditate and feel good at the same time. Okay, step forward. Here you can use your block for forward bend, or if you can, we are going to do a forward. So pyramid pose, by the way, that was an inversion. And now we're going to do a forward bend, which is also an inversion. So stretching the arms over your head. You're going to grab your elbows. Pause here, look up. And then begin to hinge forward. Have your feet hip width apart. Hinge forward. Spread your toes. Shift your weight toward the center of the feet. Let your head hang naturally between your arms. Now keep stretching the upper arms. Now, observing that you bring your elbows closer to the floor. Now, engage the core muscles. Begin to lift, start to come all the way up using the core muscles. And then change the cross of your elbows. Look up. Then exhale, come forward. Keep lengthening to the upper arms, so you're stretching the elbows forward and then eventually down. So you try to bring the elbows to the floor. This is more important than bringing the elbows toward you. You want your weight shifted to the center of each foot. And now begin to slowly lengthen the spine forward. Come all the way up. And exhale the arms down. Pause here in Tadasana. Just for a couple of breaths. Now we're going to do one more downward facing dog, forward bend, and we're going to do it with the feet together. So when you bring the feet together, you want all 10 toes to point straight forward, 1. 2, you want the ball of the foot to touch. So some of us can bring the ball of the feet to touch and the heels, but everybody cannot do that. So the important part is to have the front of your feet touching. And if your heels are apart, it's okay. Okay, so you stand here, okay? So, before we move, just feel your body with your feet totally together. Some of us may even feel the ankles pressing against each other, the inner ankles. Now you're going to stretch the arms over your head. Look up. And strong legs, firm on the legs. Exhale. Come all the way down to forward bend. Now the feeling in your legs is going to be different because the legs are together. So we rotate the inner thighs in. So the front of your thighs rotates in. Then always pay attention to your pose. Notice, am I centered on my feet? Is my head releasing or am I keeping my head up? Now let the neck soften. Use the weight of your head to decompress the neck. Now to come up, Take it very slow. First stretch lift the head up, stretch your spine. Place your hands on your hips, come all the way up. Very good. Okay, let's do a downward facing dog. Now this is the quality of your dog pose. As it changes, depending on when you do dog pose. The first dog pose feels one way, and that's dog pose is going to feel differently. Again, taking the time to spread the fingers so that you have a much surface to root underneath your hands. Touch your toes onto, press to downward facing dog. And let's just lift the right leg up, bend the knee, open your hip. Breathe into that opening. Exhaling. Coming back to the center. Extending your left leg up, bending the knees, opening. Exhaling back to the center. Placing the foot on the floor. Press back. Come to your knees. Rest in child's pose. Now in your child's pose, I want you to observe how your body feels, how your shoulders feels in particular. How does your neck feel? And also what's going on in your head. And then slowly sit up. So we are going to do one balancing pose, which is standing split. It's also known as modified warrior 3. So once again, we're going to use our blocks. So come to stand, feet hip width apart. So we're going to start with the block first, and then some of you may be able to go to the floor. You're going to stretch, bend your front knee, stretch your right leg back, so point the toes, and then begin to come into your standing split. Exhaling, bringing the leg down, stepping the left foot back, so you bend your front knee to do that, and then you lift the back leg as you extend the standing leg. Coming back down to forward bend. And come all the way up. Now, if you like the block, we can definitely keep the block. Or you can bring your hands to the floor. So let's come forward. Place your hands on the floor. Step the right foot back. Come into standing split. Bring the leg down. Step the left foot into standing split. Bring the leg down. Release in forward bend. And come all the way up. And exhale. So after all these inversions, we're going to do one more inversion before we settle to passive poses. And that's modify shoulder stand. So we're going to use a block. We're going to use a blanket. So you want to create a little ledge for your shoulders. So when you come up, your shoulders are on the blanket, your head is on the floor, and that will be a lot more comfortable for the neck to support the shoulders. So you lie down, and then you want to adjust until your head is on the floor, right? So you have a little distance between your head of the shoulders and the edge of the mat. So here you may feel that your neck is too far back, but when you come up, it's going to work better. Okay, so take your block, find a height that's good for you, lift, slide the block underneath your sacrum. Interlace your fingers in front of the block, and lift between the shoulder blades. Press your feet down. Now let go of your hands, bring the knees in, and extend your legs up to the ceiling. So that is an inversion as well. Keep the legs active. Keep the upper arm pressing to the floor to maintain the lift in the thoracic spine. The neck should be with no stress on the neck whatsoever. The neck should be soft. Now this is the breath. Now this as you inhale, or the rib cage expand to make room for the lungs to inflate. Try to maintain the lift as you exhale. So take your mind to your breath right now. Keep reaching up with the legs. Keep pressing the upper arms to the support, to the floor, or to the blanket. So this is a semi-active pose. There is effort and receiving in a pose. Which eventually we get that feeling of receiving the effort as opposed to struggling in the effort. In every pose we do. Finding that they're letting go as you produce effort. So relaxing into action. So we avoid letting the body react, and say we're making the body act in a position. That means something to me, maybe it doesn't to you, but that's okay. Sometimes you only get like 5% of a class, but that 5% prepares you to forward. In this position, as you're observing your body, send also some love to your body. It is your home. For now. You may begin to notice more things happening in your body as you're holding this pose. You may, for example, feel some tightening of the belly. You may also reconnect to the upper arms, pressing to the floor. You may begin to discover new sensation in your legs. Close your eyes for 5 breaths and let your mind travel like this throughout your body. So one thing we notice where the pose feels good, or maybe parts of the body begin to dislike the pose. So that's a cue that you should come out of the pose. So we are going to come out now. You're going to bend your knees. And just pause there. You're still on the block. Let the knees, the thighs drop on your chest. There's no effort. And then slowly bring your feet down to the floor. Remove the block and curl down. You're going to scoot back until your hips are on the blanket. And just keep your knees bent. Let your arms flop to the side. Let's take a couple breaths, relaxing here. Then you could let your knees move from side to side in a windshield, like windshield wipers. Feel the breath. And let's slowly turn onto your side to come up. So we are going to do some passive poses on the floor now. The body should be really ready to receive this pose. So we're going to start with recline hero pose, Supta Virasana. Now, we've done that, you've done that with me before. So those of you who cannot sit between your feet, you're going to keep your legs straight this way, okay? So you come on your knees. Those of you who are going to sit between your feet, you move the calves out of the way. So if your legs are extended, you sit on the floor, place your hands behind you, and then adjust the blanket when you come back, that the blanket is in the right position. So this is Supta Virasana, or so this is an opening of the front body. You can extend the arms over your head. If you're in Supta Virasana, hug the knees toward each other. You also want to bring the weight toward the little toes. Let your arms rest by your side. You're going to take about 10 breaths in this position. Now, bend your elbows down, lift between the shoulder blades, and then release back down onto the blanket. Let your arms rest by your side. Close your eyes. For those of you in Supta Virasana with the knees bent, make sure you keep squeezing the knees toward each other, and that you rotate the little toe toward the floor. You can have your hands on your belly, or you can have the arms by your side. So maintaining that position, begin to take a deep breath in, pause, and then slow exhalation. So notice the muscles that make that happen. So the diaphragm moves up and down, and then to add to custom muscles, the muscles between our ribs begin to stretch so that we create a cave for the lungs to expand. So let's visualize that rib cage, these muscles stretching between your ribs, okay? Visualize that as you inhale. Pause, keep the chest open, and then exhale. Take a normal breath. Let's take a deep breath in. Pause, keep expanding the chest. And then exhale. So I will let's take a few more breaths. As we resume the control of the breath, feel the breath in the back of your throat. Let's begin by inhaling. Pause. And exhaling. You also pause at the end of the exhale. Let's take a deep inhale. Keep opening the ribcage. Maintain the opening as you slowly exhale. Take a couple of normal breaths. Now we're going to slowly come out of this pose. If your legs are extended, you're going to bend your knees. If you're in the position that I mean, you're going to push away from the floor to come up. You're going to shift onto your hands and knees and stretch your legs. Downward facing dog. Open the back of your knees. And let's come back to this. Now we are going to do Supta Baddha Konasana, which is reclined cobblers pose. Now the blanket is going to be this way on your mat. Your head is going to be on the floor, so the blanket is going to be supporting the thoracic spine, starting at about the T2 or 3. Okay, so let's lie down. Okay, so start with your knees bent, you lie down. And you should feel the blanket should catch the shoulder blades, and then you get that opening in your chest. You're going to bring the soles of the feet together. So look up, make sure you're centered. You're going to extend the arms over your head. And then bring the arms out to the side. So now there's a different way to open the chest. Let's just breathe normally. Okay, let's begin to take a deep breath in. Open the chest. Feel the breath in the back of your throat as you exhale. Deep breath in. Pausing. And slow exhalation. Pausing. Normal breath. Let's do this again. Inhale. Pause. Keep expanding the chest. Exhale. Normal breath. Let's take one more controlled breath. Inhale. Pause, keep expanding. And exhale. Let's take about 5 to 10 normal breaths here. Hopefully you feel your breath to be more present than it was before. We take that breath for granted all day long. Now you're going to take your hands to the outside of your legs and just pull your legs toward each other. Pause with your knees bent. Notice the breath. You're going to turn onto your side to come up. So we are going to do Shavasana. And you have a choice with the blanket. You could put the blanket underneath your thighs or underneath the knees, or you could put the blanket on top of the thighs. So separate your feet. So you choose the one you want to do. You curl yourself down to the floor. You bend the elbows, lift, slide the shoulder blades down your back. Fully extend the legs before they relax. Let your arms drop by your side. Close your eyes. Let's notice the breath as we breathe normally. Now, without controlling the breath, we're going to take our attention to the back of the throat. Observe the sensation as you inhale, and observe the sensation as you exhale. That's all. Notice that thoughts enter our heads, and that's the nature of the mind. You acknowledge the thought, and then you let it go. Return to the breath. So you're not trying to stop the thoughts from coming in. In fact, you want to look at those thoughts before you let them go. You recenter your attention by coming back to the breath. So we are going to take a longer Shavasana today for the next few minutes. And I'm not going to talk. When it's time for you to move, I will speak. Take a few more breaths. You may begin to feel energy vibrating in your body. Could be in your hands, in your fingers. Could be in your heart. Now you're going to bend your knees. Pause. And then roll to your side. Coming up to a seated position. So always observe how you cross your legs. We have a tendency to cross the legs the same way all the time, and so we pay attention to that. So let's keep your hands on your knees or on your upper thighs, and just let your gaze grow vague, so you can look down at the floor about 6 feet away. So your eyes are open, but your gaze is soft, so you're not trying to see. You let your vision become blurry. I want to thank you for joining me this evening. Happy spring. The light is really beautiful now. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Join your palms. Again, let's reconnect to that breath. Are you inhaling, opening the rib cage? Exhaling, lower your head forward. Bow to yourself with gratitude. Namaste. Again, thank you. See you in 2 weeks, I think.